Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Tom Neblett with 4 Points Family Chiropractic. Sorry, we're dealing with our normal how do we make this thing work situation. Hey, I want to welcome everybody here to our Living to 100 webinar series. Every month we host a different health-related topic webinar as part of our commitment to you and to the community to help you achieve lifetime family wellness. With me today is my fellow team member and our lead chiropractic assistant, Diane Marrero. Diane's going to be assisting me today. I appreciate her help. Thanks, Diane.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're going to be talking about posture today, all right? The importance of posture when it comes to our health. We're going to talk about how to differentiate between good and bad posture. We're also going to discuss the three most common postural problems we see in our office, and Diane is going to show you specific exercises and stretches you can perform at home to help correct those problems. Now, our office, in case you're not aware, we are located off of 2222 up near the intersection with 620. If you're from Austin, you know exactly where I'm talking about. We take care of the communities in Northwest Austin, but we have patients from all over Austin we're able to care for, and from many surrounding communities as far away as Houston and San Antonio. So we have a very broad reach. Now, following the webinar, we're going to post this webinar on our website. We have a tab called Watch a Webinar at fourpointschiropractic.com, where we have a library of about 30 to 40 other workshops and webinars that we performed, again, back to our commitment to help you achieve optimal health. So if there's somebody that you wanted to be here today or that you know needs to hear this information, it'll be posted there later so they can access it at a later time. Okay? Let's talk about posture. So when I think about posture, one of the things that comes to mind, I can still hear my mother's voice saying, stand up straight, hold your shoulders back, don't slouch. So I've been struggling with posture issues my entire life. Now, you may already know that you have a posture problem. You may be able to look in the mirror and see a low shoulder, or maybe you look at one of your kids and know that they've got a low shoulder, their head's way out forward. If that's the case, you're in the right place, okay? That's what this webinar today is going to be about, and we want to be a resource to help you with correction of posture. So most of us, when we start thinking about correcting our posture, the first thing we think about is how it makes us look, right? And obviously that's a concern, but there's a whole lot more to posture than that, because our posture impacts how we're able to function on a daily basis, and it impacts our overall health. When we maintain good posture, it improves efficiency of movement, endurance, improves our balance, slows down or stops the degeneration of joints, which reduces pain. And again, back to how we look, increases self-confidence and increases our overall sense of well-being, right? On the other hand, when we see bad posture, one of the main things it does is it causes increased and accelerated degeneration of joints in our body, especially spinal joints. All right, and that as the joints rapidly deteriorate can lead to pain problems down the road. But in addition to that, poor posture can also affect vital organ functions like our heart and our lung, okay, which can decrease the flow of blood and oxygen to other vital organs and even to our brain. So that can lead to decreased function in other vital organs, and it also can lead to cognitive decline. So posture is a lot bigger deal than just the way it makes it look, and I hope I made that clear. Now, one of the issues with posture is it tends to get worse and its effects increase over time. You know, it's a well-known fact that posture is the window to your spine, meaning by looking at, when we see postural abnormalities, there's a good chance that you've developed misalignments in your spine. And these misalignments or subluxations do speed up the breakdown of the joints, as I mentioned just a second before. So since this does get worse over time, it's actually very important that we monitor our own posture on an ongoing basis, and we make corrections as need be if we want to maintain optimal health. Make sense? So what I want to do first is I want to demonstrate for you what good posture looks like. Diane, you're on. Come on over here for me. I'm going to get Diane to stand right here. So we're going to be looking at Diane from behind. Diane, are you standing up straight? I'm just kidding. All right. Now, it's kind of hard to see because everything's black here, but what we're looking for when we look at somebody's posture from behind or from the front is the head should be centered over the shoulders, the line across the shoulders should be level with the line across the pelvis, and both of those lines should be level with the ground. That's what good posture looks like from the front or the back. Now, Diane, will you face the window to your left? From the side, Diane, yeah, I can see you. You're good. From the side, we should be able to draw a straight line through your ears, shoulders, hips, knees, and ankle, and that shows that our posture is in the proper position from the side. You'll notice Diane's got a little bit of rounding of her shoulders. That one's forward, and she's just demonstrating an example of bad posture when she moves her head forward. So I mentioned these landmarks to you. Thank you, Diane. You might want to have a seat right there. I mentioned these landmarks to you because it's very easy to check your own posture. Number one, you can look in the mirror and take a look at your shoulders and your ears and see if they're lined up properly. You can also check your kids. All right, if you know that see a child with a low shoulder, or you see a child with a head's way out front, that's a problem. All right, so it's pretty easy to do your own little quick check at home. Now, the reason this is a big deal, I mentioned some of the consequences it can have, but if you already know that you're dealing with a family member or postural problems of your own, it's really important to get this checked out. We're going to show you exercises to do, but sometimes posture's got more to do with other problems than with just muscular imbalances. So if you know that there's a problem there, we're going to recommend that you go ahead and get these things checked out. I'm going to demonstrate what the three most common abnormal patterns are in the office, and then Diane's going to show you some exercises to do. What I want to stress is these exercises aren't the end all. They're most effective when they're paired with corrective spinal adjustments that your chiropractor is providing for you, and they're especially geared towards the care that we're providing here in our office. So I want to make sure that's clear. We also want to stress that because posture can come from other issues, if you see these problems, as I mentioned before, it's important to get them checked out. And the earlier you can identify where the problems are coming from, the better. I'm talking about your kids right now. So what we want to do to make this easy as possible on you, if you already know you've got an issue that needs to be checked out, if you simply call our office at 512-345-9355, and tell Diane or one of our other amazing front desk staff that you watch this webinar and you want to take advantage of the offer that we're making, we will do a comprehensive spinal examination, a postural examination, a biostructural examination, orthopedic and neurological examinations, and any necessary x-rays so we can determine the cause of the problem. We'll follow that appointment up with a special appointment where we'll meet with you, one of the doctors will sit with you, and we'll discuss our findings, point out the cause, and then help set up some recommendations so that you can overcome these problems. And when it comes to your kids, we can keep the problems from progressing further so that when kids become adults, they don't have to have bigger problems. Make sense? We normally, our charge for those services is $348. We're offering that for just $67 if you'll call and mention this webinar. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to gift you a memory foam cervical correction pillow. We sell those in our office for $50. We're going to give that to you because it will help with correcting head forward posture. Okay? Now, I mentioned head forward posture. That just happens to be the first abnormal postural pattern I want to discuss with you. It's the most common pattern by far we see in the office. What we see with head forward posture problems is the head moves forward of the ear. All right, and that increases the stress in the joints up in the neck, speeds up the breakdown of those joints. Commonly what we'll see with that is we'll see rounding of the shoulders like we saw with Diane, and commonly we also tend to see rounding of the upper back. So in addition to speeding up spinal degeneration, that posture also tends to compress vital organs like the heart and the lungs. And I already mentioned some of the problems that can come with that. Breathing difficulties, circulatory problems can come from that. Digestive problems often come from that. So once again, this is a bigger issue than just appearance and can have huge health ramifications. So it may or may not make sense. In this position, what we expect to see are tight chest muscles and front neck muscles and weakened muscles in the back of the neck and upper back. So the exercises we recommend are going to be to specifically deal with those things. So I'm going to have Diane demonstrate the three exercises we recommend for this condition. Diane, if you'll stand right here for me. There we go. Now we're going to show what we call a YWTL stretch. Diane's going to put her arms back in a Y position. I want you to turn your thumbs backward, and then I want you to take your arms way back and look up at the ceiling. She would hold that position for 10 seconds. Next, she would move to a W position with her arms out to the side, thumbs back. Now pull your arms back behind your back, look up. She would hold that position for 10 seconds. And then she'll go into a T position. Sorry about getting in the way. Bring those arms back and look up. 10 seconds. And last, she's going to go into an L position on both sides. Arms down here.
Oh.
There you go. And bring those back and look back. That's the hardest one, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what that does, that stretches these muscles up front, helps to strengthen the muscles in the back, so starts this process of correction. The next exercise I'm going to have her do, Diane, will you lie on your stomach on the little table down there for me? Cervical extension exercises are also helpful. I want you to put your arms down by your side, Diane, and I want you to raise your head and try to touch the back of your head to your back. She would hold this position for 5 seconds and now go back down and rest and do 10 reps of those. The last exercise, Diane, is I'm going to have you come sit in this chair right here. These are called chin retraction exercises. You may already be familiar with this. With this exercise, what you're going to do is you're just going to retract your chin back. So Diane, move back, keep your head level, and then go back to neutral. Come all the way back. One of the things my patients do sometimes is take their own fingers and touch their chin so they can kind of feel themselves just pushing the chin straight back. That strengthens the muscles back here in the back of the neck and helps to pull the head back. So these are 3 basic exercises you can start doing at home that'll help with this particular postural problem. Now, the second condition I want to talk with you about is called hyperlordosis of the lumbar spine. That's a big word. It's also commonly known as sway back. It's often accompanied with anterior or forward pelvic tilt. All right, what happens here, Diane, will you stand up here for me where they can see your low back? But I'm actually going to, I'll bring it down. Face that chair again. So what we see with this is the pelvis tends to rotate forward, which you notice already happened, causes a swaying of the back, an increased curve in the low back, and causes the gluteal area to extend backwards. So we see this particular pattern develop very commonly with patients who sit a lot for long periods of time or with patients involved in activities that require back extension. So it can show up with patients that cheerlead or do gymnastics, like your kids. Maybe people that play a lot of tennis or volleyball. That's a common manifestation. If I back up just a second, the previous pattern, the head forward posture, that's commonly used to be seen in adults that spend a lot of time over a computer or after a car accident, but we're seeing an alarming increase in teenagers coming in because they spend so much time bent over their phones and over their screens. All right, so that's why we wanted to start with that one. I forgot to mention that, so that was my bad, sorry. Meanwhile, coming back to sway back again, I mentioned where that tends to come from. So when it comes to a hyperlordosis, the organs that, the main thing that happens with that increases the stress on the joints in the low back, causes those joints to break down more rapidly, and is a very common cause of low back pain. All right, so we want to strengthen the muscles, the abdominal muscles especially, and the gluteal muscles, and we want to stretch the muscles in the low back. All right, those are the main things that we want to do in helping to correct that. The organic complications of the organ complications of this are the abdominal pelvic organs. So it's not uncommon to see, because of increased pressure on the colon, large intestines, the bladder, the kidneys, the female reproductive organs, we can see problems develop in those areas because, again, you've got those organs being compressed so they don't have enough room to function the way they should. So let me show you some exercises on how we can combat this particular posture pattern. First, Diane, I'm going to have you lie on your back for me. So if we're going to stretch those muscles in the low back, one of the exercises you can do are back stretches. So now I want you to grab both your knees and pull into your chest. Now, if you pull that pretty good, you'll feel a good stretching in the low back, right?
I do. This
is one of my very favorite stretches. It's good for low back pain in particular, but it helps stretch the muscles out that are keeping your back in too tight of a position. The second exercise is called a pelvic tilt. Diane, bend your knees for me. Now, since you've got that forward rotation of the pelvis, we're going to do an exercise to help take the pelvis the opposite direction. So I want you to bring your knees all the way up for me. And what I want you to do is tighten your stomach muscles and try to push your back into the table. Now, you may or may not be able to see that, but what happened when she did that, her pelvis rocked like this. Now, relax. And it comes back here. Now, tighten up again. Tighten your stomach muscles real tight. And relax. All right, so that serves two benefits. Number one, it tends to stretch the back muscles and tighten or strengthen the abdominal muscles. So that's an excellent exercise as well. The next exercise we're going to do are planks. Now, if you can roll onto your tummy for me. Now, you're probably already familiar with planks. If you're a little deconditioned and this is too much for you, you can start doing your planks on your knees. So Diane's in a in the plank position. Now you want your back to be straight, and I want you to look straight down. This is the position we want you to do this in. I want you to start out doing 20 to 30 seconds in a plank position. Diane's going to hold this for 30 minutes, so I'm just kidding. Relax. And you can build up from 30 seconds up to a minute is a good place to go next. Now, the last exercise I'm going to show you are wall squats because we want to strengthen your gluteal muscles. We don't have a great wall to do this on here, but I'm going to have Diane demonstrate with what we have to work with. With the wall squats, when you stand against the wall, you want to make sure your feet are out far enough from the wall that when you go into a squat position, your knees don't go in front of your feet. I hope that makes sense. So Diane, if you'll demonstrate a squat against the wall, and you don't want to go any lower than 90 degrees at the knees. Now come on back up. Pretty simple. That gives you extra protection too, so if you're not used to doing squats, you can start out doing them that way. That was awesome, Diane. Thank you. You know, another thing you can add to that is you can use an exercise ball behind your back that helps you to go up and down a little easier. Same rules apply. Make sure that your knees don't get out in front of your feet. The final area I'm going to talk with you about is a high shoulder. We see a lot of high shoulders in our office, okay? The reason high shoulders concern us, again, with posture being the window to the spine, frequently that high shoulder is caused by a misalignment of the spine and indicates there could be a lateral curve or even a scoliosis developing there. Now, scoliosis, again, two major problems. Number one, it speeds up the breakdown of the joints, can cause joint problems down the road as those joints break down. But also, if it progresses far enough, it's compressing the organs. So we want to catch this as early as possible. Let me just say this. We take care of lots of patients with all three of these different postural abnormalities I'm showing you, get really good results with correction, including scoliosis patients. You know, we think the earlier that we can intervene with a child who's showing scoliosis patterns, if we can help to correct that or stop it from progressing, the biggest amount of progression in scoliosis happens before they reach skeletal maturity, which is around 16 for girls, 18 to 19 with boys. So if we can keep that from progressing, we give them a much better outlook later on. Typically, if you go the medical route, they're just going to wait and watch. If it gets up around 30 degrees, then they start talking about bracing or even worse, doing surgery. The surgery for severe scoliosis is called Harrington rod surgery. They put a metal rod on either side of the spine and fuse the whole spine. It's a very, very invasive surgery. If you look it up, you'll see what I'm talking about. Anybody we can save from that particular surgery, I promise you we're doing you a favor. So when it comes to scoliosis, the exercises I'm going to show you, again, these are geared to accompany corrective spinal adjustments. The exercises have more to do with strengthening stable spinal stabilizing muscles and core muscles, all right, to help hold those adjustments longer. So once again, Diane, I'm going to get you to come over here for me first. First thing is to stretch. Now, I want you to face the TV for me. So if, let's just say Diane had a high left shoulder. So when you've got a high shoulder, am I going the right way?
Yeah, this is
that way, okay. Which way? Sorry, we're looking at ourselves like we're looking in a mirror. What we want to do is we want to stretch. There we go. You want the low shoulders out. Let me look at you instead of looking at myself. Which side's the high side? Okay, that's the right side. So what we want to do is you're going to take the opposite arm, you're going to take it this way, this arm this way. And you want to bring that back, and then you want to stretch in that direction with the high shoulder brought low. So you want to get a pretty good stretch in there where you're tightening the muscles on this side and stretching the muscles on that side. And that stretch is when you want to hold that for 20 to 30 seconds when you're doing that stretch. Okay, Diane, you can stop. Thank you. Now, I'm going to show you two quick exercises. These, again, are spinal stabilizing exercises that will help. The first one, Diane, you know the bird dog. Let me get you on all fours for me. Now, this, if you're a little unstable, you may need somebody to help you and either hold you or lean up against the wall while you're doing it. But when you do the bird dog, the way that we're going to do this, I'll bring this down a little, we can see Diane better. Diane, I want you to put your left arm straight out in front of you, and now put your left leg straight out in front of you. Right leg straight out behind you. Okay, very good. Hold that for a few seconds and then back down. Now do just the opposite side. Right arm out, left leg out. Beautiful. Okay, back down. Now, this activates what's called the cross-crawl neurological mechanism, and that helps with spinal stabilization. This is an excellent exercise to do for scoliosis patients, but for anybody to help improve posture overall. It's not easy, is it, Diane?
No, it's not.
So you may need some stabilization help when you first start to do this exercise. The next exercise, Diane, lie on your tummy. This is the last one. Wait, except what you lie on your other tummy. So, go face down.
Oh, whoops.
All right, we're going to do what's called a Superman exercise. Once again, this is an excellent exercise for strengthening back muscles. So if you just go into Superman position, you're going to put your arms straight out in front of you. And what I want you to do is try to raise your upper body and your lower body up off the table at the same time. All right, and relax. I hope you can see that okay. Again, that's an excellent exercise for strengthening low back muscles. When you add in, which shoulder was high? Okay. What we're going to do, we want her to turn her body in the direction of the high shoulder, which brings it low. Now do a Superman. Now, and back down. When you do that, when you add that component to the exercise, now it helps to straighten out the curve. All right? Thank you, Diane. You did great. All right. So we covered several different exercises today. If you take on some of these exercises, what we recommend you do with the exercises is to start out doing one set of 10, hold each position for 5 seconds, and then rest, again, with a set of 10. Do one set on the days you're not being adjusted for the first week. The next week, add a second set of 10. And then by the third week, we want you to get up to 3 sets of 10 on the days you're not exercising. Those stretches we want you to do for 30 seconds at a time. Same idea. Once the first week, twice the second week, 3 times the third week. Okay? So I hope that you found today's webinar helpful and that you'll be inspired to follow up on what we talked about and take a more active role in improving your health. That's where real health care lies. Now, if you know or that you have or that someone you cares about, once again, has got one of the postural problems we talked about today, before you undertake one of these exercise protocols, it is important to get that checked out. Ideally by a chiropractor. We're specially trained to be able to identify and help with these problems. So if you want to take advantage of the special offer we have, we want to make it as easy as possible. All you need to do is call the office, and then Diane, once she catches her breath from the exercise she's demonstrated, she or one of our other team members is going to answer the phone. They'll take good care of you. They'll help you get that initial examination set up where we're going to do a comprehensive spinal exam, a postural examination, a biostructural examination, orthopedic and neurological exams, and also any x-rays we deem necessary to find out the cause of the problem, and then we'll have a follow-up appointment with you to discuss our findings and help you set up recommendations to improve your posture problems. In addition, we're going to throw in a cervical correction pillow, memory foam pillow we sell for $50 at no additional cost. Normal charge for these services, $348 plus $50 for the pillow. We're going to do all this for $67 just for mentioning. All right, next month, big month, Dr. Haley will be discussing common causes of low back pain, and she's going to offer strategies on how you can improve your low back health. We look forward to seeing you again then. Once again, this is Dr. Tom Neblett with our lead chiropractic assistant, Diane Marrero. Just want you to know we're here today because we want to show you a better way to better health. Y'all have a great day.